Hotel Transylvania 2 is the sequel to the first Hotel Transylvania movie that came out in 2012. Stars Adam Sandler, Kevin James, David Spade, Steve Buscemi, a bunch of other people that you may recognize in other Adam Sandler movies, but this one is actually pretty good. And what this movie's about is Dracula's daughter Mavis and the human Jonathan have gotten married and they have a kid now, and Dracula doesn't know if this kid's gonna be a vampire or just a regular human, so he sets Mavis and Jonathan out on a honeymoon to California, while he and his Drac Pack basically take the kid to these destinations to show off their monster skills, trying to show him that, hey, being a monster is pretty cool, so hopefully you turn out to be like one. And even though this movie did seem kind of unnecessary when they announced it, because I thought the first Hotel Transylvania movie was very good, and it is kind of special on its own, I was still looking forward to it because it was from the same director, Genndy Tartakovsky. And for the most part, I really did enjoy this movie. Is it as good as the first movie? In my opinion, no. I think the first movie is a little bit more special, but I think this movie is actually pretty good, even though the whole vibe given off by this movie is direct-to-DVD sequel. It pretty much has the same overall message: don't judge people by what they look like. That's how the monsters were driven into hiding because the humans judged them, and now the monsters are judging the humans like in the first movie. That same kind of feel is back in this one because Dracula's having a hard time accepting the fact that the kid might turn out to be a human. And because of that, the vibe of direct-to-DVD sequel is really given off, especially since the movie feels shorter. And I know this movie and the first movie are like around the same length of time, but this movie really does feel shorter. It doesn't really feel all that necessary, but for the most part I did really like this movie. Dracula, played by Adam Sandler, was really good. Can you think about that? Adam Sandler is actually good in a movie. What do you know? I think if Adam Sandler wants to continue making movies, make them animated and not by Happy Madison Productions whatsoever. And even David Spade, Kevin James, Keegan-Michael Key, yeah, he replaced CeeLo Green as the mummy in this movie, and Steve Buscemi, who you might expect to be, they're not going to be good because they're in an Adam Sandler movie. They actually are really good and play their characters really well, and I think even though they weren't in the same room clearly when recording their lines, they had some chemistry. And Selena Gomez and Andy Samberg as Jonathan and Mavis, they also did really good, and I gotta say, the kid, Dennis, who is the son of Mavis and Jonathan, he was really adorable. I mean, he was really good. For being a young kid voicing a young kid character, he did a pretty good job in the role. And the animation, as usual, it's just a cliche to say, but I'm going to say it anyways, it's really good to look at. The first movie had some good animation, and this movie had some really good animation. Just the animation was really on point, and especially expressing these wacky movements that they make. Dracula, the most wacky of them all. Like how sometimes they'll just be standing completely still and then their mouth will just move excessively, or the arms will just go up in the air and flail or something like that. And I actually like seeing that because I think a lot of days we get a lot more realistic animated styles, like all the animated characters are moving like normal people would, and that's fine. But seeing Hotel Transylvania kind of resort back to animated styles of just wacky movements, really fast-paced stuff going on. There are a couple cutaway gags that kind of remind me of Family Guy, which were also pretty funny. And this movie is really funny, though I do have one problem with this movie. Just like with the first movie, a lot of the jokes do fall flat. Not all of them, just some of them do. There are a couple mature jokes that'll go right over kids' heads and adults and teens, so I'd be able oh, that's pretty funny and clever. But there are some times that don't work, like Dracula and Dennis have a dance-off. And there is no real passage of time in the beginning of this movie. It starts off, Jonathan and Mavis are getting married, she's pregnant, the baby's born, and then it's 5 now. All in the span of a couple minutes. There wasn't really a good showing of passage of time. As much as I really like Mel Brooks, and I really liked him in this movie, he was barely in it, and I think that was a waste of good talent. I think if Mel Brooks was in the majority of this movie, that would have been really cool, but he only really shows up during the last 20 minutes of the movie, which was a little disappointing to me, because when I heard that he was cast to play Dracula's dad, I was excited. Do you know who Mel Brooks is? He made such great comedies as Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, a couple others. So just seeing him completely wasted in this movie was kind of disappointing to me as a fan of Mel Brooks, but while he was there, it was good. So guys, if you liked the first Hotel Transylvania movie, chances are you're gonna like this movie. If you hated the first Hotel Transylvania movie, chances are you're gonna hate this one. If you just thought it was then you're probably gonna think this movie is eh. But I'm gonna give Hotel Transylvania 2 a B. I think it was well acted, and I think it had some really cool animation, and overall the message is the same as the last movie, but it is still a good thing. I just wish they would have changed it up a bit, and I wish they would have given Mel Brooks more to do, because he is a huge talent. Jokes could have been a little funnier, and I think overall the vibe of this is a cash grab, give us more money, was definitely present through this movie, but I had a fun time with it. So I gotta say, if you really want to see Hotel Transylvania 2 and you liked the first Hotel Transylvania, chances are you're gonna really enjoy this one. But if you saw Hotel Transylvania 2, leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and I'm going to try to see The Walk and The Martian this week, because those are two movies that I can't freaking wait to see. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.